Ty and Tiny Harris have long been one of hip-hop's most recognizable couples, known as much for their ups and downs as for the love and loyalty that's kept them bonded for decades. So when T.I. took to social media to show his wife some heartfelt love on her milestone 50th birthday, it wasn't just a celebration, it was a deeply personal tribute to a relationship that has weathered storms, grown through time, and still continues to thrive in the public eye. In his post, T referred to Tiny as his big homie, lover, best friend, spades, partner, and most of all my lovely wife, showing the layers of their connection, one built on friendship, loyalty, shared laughs, and deep love. His words resonated with fans because they weren't overly polished or generic. Instead, they sounded like T in his raw southern poetic tone, authentic and sincere. He thanked her for everything she's done, everything she's doing, and everything she continues to add to his life. He called her a old national treasure, nodding to her Atlanta roots and the special place she holds, not just in his life, but in their community. This wasn't just a birthday shout-out, it was a love letter, one filled with the kind of appreciation that only comes from surviving life together. T's words carried the weight of history, nearly 3 decades of partnership, 6 children together, including their blended family, and an entire empire built side by side. Through reality TV fame, chart-topping music, business moves, public controversies, and private battles, the couple has continued to define what it means to grow together. Tiny, born Tameka Codal, is a legend in her own right, a founding member of the iconic girl group Escape. Her talent as a singer and songwriter laid the groundwork for her own stardom before she even met T. Over the years, she's remained true to herself, always keeping her family close and her values closer. Her laid-back, nurturing personality has often been the calm to T.I.'s fiery intensity. Fans often refer to her as T, glue that holds the Harris family together, whether she's holding it down on their VH1 reality show, T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, or supporting their kids' dreams. Tiny has always been more than just a rapper's wife. She's a matriarch, a businesswoman, and a cultural icon. T's public show of love on her 50th birthday was a reminder of just how far they've come. He thanked God for her existence and everything she's brought into his life. He made it clear that while they've had their share of challenges, the core of their relationship remains rooted in live, laugh, love, and pop, Psycharis. Accordingly, that final line was quintessentially T, a mix of affection, bravado, and partnership. And it's not hard to see why this message touched so many people. Relationships in the public eye often buckle under pressure. We've seen celebrity couples split over rumors, ego, distance, or temptation. But T and Tiny, despite a highly publicized periods of tension, have remained solid in their own way. They've redefined what commitment looks like, not as perfection, but as persistence. Their journey hasn't been a fairy tale, but it's been real, relatable, and full of lessons. Their marriage has been tested multiple times over the years, from cheating rumors to social media spats, and even legal controversies. Both T and Tiny have had to navigate the complicated dynamics of fame and family. At one point, Tiny even filed for divorce, citing issues of infidelity and trust. Yet they found their way back to one another, choosing reconciliation over separation. That decision was not just about them, it was about the life they've built, the children they've raised, and the love that still lives between them. As Tiny celebrated her 50th birthday, she did so surrounded by love. Not just from her husband, but from family, friends, and fans who followed her since the 90s. Her birthday bash was a glamorous affair, full of celebrity appearances, champagne toasts, and heartfelt moments. But the centerpiece of the celebration was, undoubtedly, the love between her and T. A love that stood the test of time and adversity. Their children, especially their daughter Aries and sons, King and Damani, often express admiration for their mom on social media, showing just how central she is in the Harris family dynamic. Tiny's influence extends beyond the music industry. She's a mother, a mentor, and a quiet powerhouse behind the scenes. Whether she's managing her daughter's group OMG Girls or participating in charity events in Atlanta, Tiny's impact is consistent and deeply felt. Fans of the couple praised T's tribute, noting that it was refreshing to see a black man openly and unapologetically praise his wife in such a poetic and genuine way. In a culture that often glorifies toxicity and emotional distance, T.I.'s message felt like a breath of fresh air. It reminded people that real love, flawed, tested, and enduring, still exists. What made the message even more powerful was the way T honored Tiny, not just as his partner, but as an individual. He acknowledged her for who she is to him, not just her role as wife or mother, but her as a woman, a friend, a companion, a legend. That level of appreciation is rare and speaks to a deeper kind of respect, one that evolves over time and experience. As the world continues to evolve, so do they. T and Tiny have grown into a couple who understand their influence and responsibility. They've used their platform for activism, especially during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. T, known for his politically charged commentary, has pushed forward messages about economic empowerment and systemic reform, while Tiny has quietly supported from the sidelines, offering her strength and support. For her birthday, the couple reportedly took time to travel together, soaking in the fruits of their labor and years of hustle. Photos from their celebration showed them dressed to the nines, enjoying life with a maturity and joy that can only come after walking through fire together. Their smiles, their body language, and their closeness showed that their bond is still very much alive. As Tiny enters her 50s, she does so with grace, style, and an entire life of accomplishments behind her, and still so much ahead. For T, the public tribute was more than just a sweet gesture. It was a declaration that through it all, this is the woman who still holds his heart. In the world of celebrity, where relationships often fade faster than the headlines they generate, T and Tiny continue to write their story. Flawed, real, and full of occa chapters. They show that it's not about being perfect, but about being present. It's about choosing each other again and again, even when things get hard. T.I.'s message, with its mix of Southern charm, honesty, and depth, captured what many couples strive for, a love that matures, forgives, laughs, learns, and keeps growing. His words, "Thank you for completing my life legend, Tiny Harris," weren't just romantic, they were revolutionary in their vulnerability. As fans, we often get glimpses into occa celebrity relationships, but few offer the kind of layered, enduring partnership that T and Tiny represent. They remind us that longevity in love is still possible, even in a world where everything moves fast and nothing seems to last. So, as Tiny Harris celebrated her 50th trip around the sun, she did so as a mother, wife, performer, and queen of her castle. And T, ever the wordsmith, made sure the world knew exactly how much she meant to him. It was more than a birthday wish. It was a celebration of a legacy, a love and a waka life well lived. T and Tiny Harris have had one of the most talked about relationships in hip-hop. Their love story spans decades, complete with passion, family, fame, betrayal, reconciliation, and countless headlines. At times celebrated as a power couple and other times critiqued for their dysfunction, their relationship has been a roller coaster of real emotions, public scandals, and private decisions. For better or worse, they've managed to stay together through it all, making theirs one of the most complex and enduring celebrity relationships in modern entertainment. Tama Tiny Codell and Clifford T.I. Harris began dating in the early 2000s. At the time, Tiny was already a Grammy-winning artist from the girl group Escape and a successful songwriter. T was emerging as a Southern rap kingpin, known for his lyrical skills and larger-than-L life persona. When they got together, their chemistry was instant. They seemed to understand each other's worlds, both came from music, both knew the industry's demands, and both had a drive for success. Their early years were filled with passion and growth. They welcomed their first child together, King, in 2004, followed by Major in 2008, and their youngest daughter, Iris. They also created a blended family, raising Tia's children from previous relationships and Tiny's daughter, Zonique. Their household, full of kids and love, became the focus of their popular VH1 reality show, T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle. Through the show, fans saw a different side of the rapper and the songstress, a down-to-earth family unit, trying to stay strong despite the chaos that fame brings. But behind the scenes, cracks began to show. Infidelity has been a recurring issue in their marriage. Rumors of Tia's cheating circulated for years before they were ever confirmed. Tiny stood by her man through prison stunts, career turbulence, and legal challenges, but the trust between them became increasingly fragile. Over time, whispers of affairs became louder, especially as social media and gossip blogs documented Tia's alleged behavior. The pressure reached a boiling point in 2016 when Tiny was photographed dancing with Floyd Mayweather at Mariah Carey's Halloween party, an incident that sparked a public feud between T and the boxing champ. But beneath the headlines was a woman trying to reclaim her voice after years of quiet sacrifice. Tiny later admitted in interviews that the incident wasn't about cheating. It was about her finally stepping out after years of being disrespected by her husband's infidelities. She had reached a breaking point. Around Tia's that same time, she filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences after 6 years of marriage. The news shocked fans who had grown accustomed to seeing them portray a solid front. Their separation was messy, but never final. Even after the divorce filing, they continued to appear together at events, support their children, and even flirt with each other publicly. The chemistry hadn't faded, but neither had the pain. In interviews, Tiny confessed that Tia's infidelity was emotional as much as it was physical. It wasn't just about cheating, it was about feeling disrespected and undervalued. T.I., on the other hand, took a somewhat controversial stance. He suggested in various conversations that men and women have different roles in relationships and implied that infidelity should be judged differently depending on who commits it. This didn't sit well with fans or with Tiny, who had sacrificed much of her identity for the sake of family. While he did eventually acknowledge the damage he caused, his tone at times came off as dismissive. Despite the betrayal, they found their way back to each other. By 2018, they were back living under the same roof, co-parenting and rebuilding trust. T began publicly expressing more admiration for Tiny, both in interviews and on social media. He called her his ride or die, his queen, and the glue that held their family together. Tiny in turn spoke about forgiveness, not forgetting the past, but choosing to move forward because of love, family, and history. But the peace was always fragile. More cheating rumors surfaced in 2019, with Ty being linked to Instagram dancers. The rumors remained unconfirmed, but they reignited public criticism and speculation. Tiny kept her cool, refusing to feed the gossip mill, but the silence was telling. It was clear that even as they stayed together, the wounds hadn't fully healed. Then came the 2021 allegations that shook their world. Several women came forward, accusing T and Tiny of sexual misconduct, drugging, and coercion. Annoyed allegations that the couple fiercely denied. The claims were serious and disturbing, prompting investigations and intense media coverage. While the accusations were eventually dropped and no charges were filed, the scandal damaged their reputations. For Tiny, it was another blow in a long line of sacrifices. For T, it was another public controversy to survive. The couple hunkered down, keeping a lower profile in the months that followed. Tiny leaned more into her children, especially her daughters, supporting their careers and helping manage their public images. T focused on podcasting, political commentary, and community work. The allegations forced them to reassess everything from their public presence to their inner circle. Through it all, their bond remained intact. Friends close to them say that the pair's connection is deeper than most people understand. They are best friends, as much as they are romantic partners. They argue, break apart, and hurt each other, but they also laugh, build, and comfort one another. Tiny has said multiple times that what keeps her going is the love she feels for the father of her children and the life they've built together. Infidelity for them became a constant hurdle, not a one-time mistake, but a recurring theme that they've had to address again and again. T has never denied being unfaithful. In fact, he's been open about his past, admitting that his success, ego, and access led him to make selfish choices. He's also admitted that Tiny deserved better, more respect, more attention, more loyalty. In contrast, Tiny has always been quiet strength. She never made herself the victim, even when she had every right to. Her loyalty has been unwavering, but not blind. She knows her worth. Over time, she's drawn clearer boundaries, even if she still chose to remain by his side. Their dynamic is complicated, and some fans have questioned why Tiny stayed. For some, her decision represents forgiveness, patience, and the complexities of real love. For others, it's seen as enabling toxic behavior. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. No relationship is perfect, especially not one lived under a microscope. T and Tiny's story is one of resilience, both messy and inspiring. They've shown that relationships aren't always black and white. They've also shown that love doesn't always mean staying, but when it does, it comes with work, sacrifice, and hard-earned trust. In recent years, their public displays of affection have returned. T has grown more reflective, often using to write heartfelt tributes to his wife. He's acknowledged her impact, her strength, and her grace. Tiny, while less vocal, shows her love in actions, sticking by him, building their family, and showing up when it matters. Their journey has been a long one, filled with high highs and low lows. From young love to parenthood, fame, betrayal, and renewal, they've travelled a path that few could survive. And yet they're still standing, maybe a little bruised, maybe a little wiser, but still together. What makes their story resonate with so many is its truth. They're not pretending to be perfect. They're not afraid to show their scars. In a world of carefully curated images, T and Tiny give us something rare, a relationship that's raw, complicated, and real. Whether their love story continues or eventually reaches a quiet ending, it will always stand as one of hip-hop's most unforgettable romances. Flawed, fiery, and full of life.